HD stereo. Today's pregame show is brought to you by Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Texaco. Texaco with Techron delivers unbeatable gas mileage. Texaco with Techron, driving performance. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo Wild Wings. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com. Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
RJ Chiofalo here, fucking friends at Hey Number One Air, proud part of the Dallas Cowboys. Do not miss the Super Summer Savings Special. Up to $3,000 off a new heated and AC system. Payments as low as $79 a month. They never charge overtime, not on weekends, not on holidays, not for after hours. Up to $3,000 off a new heated and AC system. Payments as low as $79 a month. 1-800-NEW-COOL. 1-800-NEW-COOL or HeyNumber1Air.com.
Some restrictions apply.
James Wright here, your 2022 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year. You know how much I love my Cowboys, and I am thrilled to be talking to you about the 2023 Fan of the Year award presented by Captain Morgan. We're looking for the ultimate Cowboys fan to spice up the game. That means you eat, sleep, and breathe the Dallas Cowboys.
Slightly less sexy than what it was supposed to be with Zach Wilson here now as the quarterback, but that's beautiful news for the Cowboys.
Hey, you know what? That's you play your schedule. You don't apologize for anything. Injuries are a part of what you deal with. My experience, Eric, all these years of being in the league, were when you lose a player, nobody feels sorry for you. You play your schedule, you move on. It's Zach Wilson today for the Jets. At one point in time, they thought that Zach Wilson was going to be their answer, and they had to go out and get Aaron Rodgers, and unfortunately for them, Aaron Rodgers is now, done for the year. and it's Zach Wilson back. So the Jets are kind of in a situation right now where they built a lot of their offense around what Aaron Rodgers could do. Now it's about, hey, let's flip this thing, and they know what Zach Wilson can do. We'll see if, in fact, the Cowboys can make it difficult for him to deal with what they're trying to do.
Now, is this a totally different offense that the Cowboys are about to face
I
here
think
without
so.
Rodgers?
I think so. To me, the things that you run into, and trust me, hey, we all know what Aaron Rodgers does, and especially when it comes into this building and against Cowboys, and it could be 3rd and 19, and he finds a way to throw it or for 20 yards, or like he could go back to pass, he could get blitzed, he could get just walloped by Jeff Heath, hold on to the ball that could have ended the game. It's just that kind of that torture that Aaron Rodgers really puts you through. But, yeah, this will be different how they attack. I think, the running game will be huge for the Jets today. And that's going to be – they realize that putting Zach Wilson last year in this game has absolutely no chance. But today he has a chance just because of what he has, the skill around him.
Okay.
And then the commitment to, knowing exactly, okay, hey, we can't throw it every snap with this guy. We got to find a way to have balance, and maybe even if it goes 75-25 run-pass splits.
They're happy with it.
They're happy with that against. But the Cowboys have got to show that they can stop the run. And just say because you have Mozzie Smith and Hankins and everybody inside, these big bodies, that's no guaranteed stopping the run. You've got to get off blocks. You can't get turned. You can't let blockers get to the second level on you. And you got to get off them blocks, and you got to make tackles. These backs can be difficult to do that with.
Breece Hall, second-year man. He was a monster as a rookie last year before going down with the ACL. He comes back last week. He has some really nice runs.
Yes.
Small amount of volume, but big amount of productivity. He's on the injury report this week, probably a little bit sore with the ACL injury, off a short week. But him and Dalvin Cook in the backfield, how do they like to present these guys?
Well, sometimes you will get them together in the backfield. Nathaniel Hackett threw some packages at Buffalo on Monday night where they put them both in the backfield, ran one way in motion, threw a screen back to the other, so to kind of get your eyes going one way. And, oh, by the way, we're going to sneak one of these really talented catchers out into the flat and throw them the ball. Fortunately for the Bills, there were some problems with linemen getting out. That's something with the Jets. The screen game could be really big for them, but their linemen are kind of a massive dude, so all of a sudden now having to get to the edge.
They don't move that well.
They're not getting there clean a lot of the time. So, yeah, that takes from the screen. You got to have guys that can catch it. Well, first off, you have a guy that's willing to call it. You have to have a guy that can catch it, but you got to make sure you time it to where you can get those guys in the flat. So it's something you're probably still going to see a little bit, of the packages of both those guys. But what we learned a little bit about with Breece Hall when we were visiting with some guys that cover the Jets was that he was on a little bit of a pitch count. That it wasn't like it's like, okay, well, hey, we're going to load up Breece Hall and it's going to. No, there was a little bit of a certain amount of snaps that he was going to play. Let's see if they ramp him up in this game because they're going to need him, and they're going to need all their backs. You even maybe throw Michael Carter in there. They're going to probably run 3 backs at you today, and try and figure out if Dallas is going to wear their big boy pants today and play a little run defense.
Now, they certainly, as you mentioned, they want to run the ball at every turn the Jets do offensively.
Right.
But when they throw it, are we looking at
Garrett Wilson,
quick passing game?
Yeah, it's not really quick. It's because
the boots and the waggles.
Yeah,
I know you love that.
You know me, I love a good boot and a waggle. The thing about it with when you watch with Rodgers, it is quick. It is it's like I'm reading, I see what you're doing. Here's the ball here. Here's the ball there. Oh, here's the ball to the time. Oh, here's the ball to the back. But, that you have to be careful because the Jets last week, they proved that the pass protection wasn't as clean as it needed to be. They had problems across the offensive line. They got a couple of guys that are banged up right now that are playing hurt. So, those are the kinds of things that you have to be able to take advantage of right there. And you got to put pressure. But with Wilson, I think Wilson is a predetermined thrower. And what I mean by a predetermined thrower, it's like, okay, Garrett Wilson is there. Play call is there. Okay, here's where the ball goes.
No matter what, I'm throwing
I'm
it here.
I'm throwing it here. And when it doesn't happen that way, it turns into run for your life.
Yeah.
And that's where
That dude, Zach Wilson, will take the ball and just run backwards.
Yeah.
He will just,
he'll just take off back and
then
run forward and try and make a throw. But
and the speed of the Cowboys defense is going to he's going to find himself in some trouble.
It has to. You can't let Zach Wilson run the ball like they were able to do with Daniel Jones the other day. When he drops back to pass and then all of a sudden he takes off.
Yeah.
If it's a design run, I don't think the Jets are going to be in the market today for design run football.
With Wilson.
Yeah, with Tim Boyle as your backup quarterback. Yeah, come on now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That.
There's not a vet. Well, Tim Boyle is a 5-year veteran, but as far as experience and all that goes, and playing of games, if you were going to risk Zach Wilson to put Tim Boyle in there,
oh dear God,
checkmate if you want to call it that way.
Cowboys Nation, come out early to the Miller Lite House, the pregame gathering destination on the West Plaza of the stadium. We're here right now. The gates are open and the party is underway. Miller Lite is the only beer of the Cowboys, and we invite all Cowboys fans to join us for a great tailgate event. Sample some great seltzer brands as well. Vizzy Hard Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the Cowboys. 877-881-1053. How does this game shake out in your mind today? What are you grilling on? What are you chilling on right now? Probably a lot of Vizzy, probably a lot of Miller Lite. Broaddus, as you look at the Cowboy offense, no Brandon Cooks as it seems.
Yes.
No Brandon Cooks at wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then obviously Tyler Smith as well. Chuma Udoga, who got the start last week, actually played respectably. It's another tough test versus a dominant Jets defense, Jets D-line, and especially Quinnen Williams, one of the best defensive tackles in all the sport.
Well, hold on to your hats, guys and gals, because there's some ways now that
oh my dear God, Broaddus, I'm sorry. We have a pregnant belly that is painted with a star on it right now. Shout out to the Cowboys.
Yeah, how about that?
That is freaking fantastic. Mom of the year right there. Absolutely beautiful. My apologies. I've never seen anything like that.
I was
That's
concentrating
fantastic.
on blocking these Quinnen Williams, and then you're right. You pointed it out. Congratulations there. I will say this, though. There's a couple of different spots. This plays into actually helping the Jets. And Udoga, I'll get to him second. But with no Cooks, now it turns into like the Jets can sit there and focus on how do we take CeeDee Lamb out of this game.
Right.
Much like what we saw last year in San Francisco with that whole thing. And, the schemes are similar. The schemes, the origins of the schemes, the way that the Jets play, personnel. There's some personnel there. We talked about the secondary, the line, and all that. So now, if you're the Jets, focus in on CeeDee Lamb. If you're going to lose this game today, and it's because of Michael Gallup and Tolbert and some tight ends, I think you would take your chances with that.
For sure.
Okay, you're going to say if you're the Jets, okay, you guys find a way to beat me with Gallup, Tolbert, and your tight ends and your backs, because we're going to take CeeDee Lamb out of this game. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get traveling Sauce Gardner or traveling DJ Reed. I'm just saying, though, they are going to shade.
Right.
They're going to shade safeties. They're going to play in and out coverage. They're not going to let Lamb beat them. But the one thing that with Cooks, we saw 4th and 2. Where'd the ball go the other night in the game? Cooks.
Right.
Somebody has got to step up from the Cowboys, but it makes this Jets secondary a lot easier. Now, Udoga did a nice job. We talked about how inside the Giants are, how difficult are the big bodies and what you have to deal with there, the pounding you take. That plays into Udoga's hands. Little bit different. We saw Udoga struggle in training camp with speed, quickness, and in space. So Quinnen Williams, that kind of situation. Quentin Jefferson, that kind of situation. They play the wide techniques, the wide nines. There's going to be some spacing in there. They're going to play wide on the shoulder, and now he's going to have to move his feet, hands, set. Instead of last week, it was more like set and let the guy absorb the defensive tackle.
Yep.
He's going to have to play with a little bit more foot quickness and a little bit better hand placement in this game if they're going to have success.
Okay, did you like what they did with Turpin last week, getting him involved a little bit?
Yeah, it makes me wonder what's the real plan for Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn, I think, got in that game last week because of the way the score went. I don't think it was Deuce Vaughn's in the game. I didn't get the detection or feel like that Deuce Vaughn got in that game because they had packages for Deuce Vaughn. They had a package clearly for Turpin
Yep.
in this football game.
Which is nice because it's not something they had last year. And that's
No.
a speed element that you need, especially on a day like today without Brandon Cooks.
Right.
You're going to need some of that speed elements from a guy like Turpin. We'll see. Does Deuce Vaughn suit up again today? Does he get on the field? Or could he be a potential healthy scratch?
That's what I'm saying.
That's on the table.
We talked to Stephen Jones on the G-Bag Nation on Friday, and we were talking about healthy scratches. When you get to a point in time, there's going to be situational football with, hey, they're going to throw it or they're going to run it, and you're going to play your players because of that, or dress guys to match scheme-specific stuff.
All right, boys and girls, we're just getting started here. The official pregame party of America's team live from AT&T Stadium. The Miller Lite West Plaza is already rocking and a-rolling. We cannot wait to see you if you're strolling up to the game today. Stop by, say hello. Let's go behind enemy lines. Less than 3 hours to kick with Bob Wischusen, the New York Jets play-by-play man, next right here on The Fan.
It's big, it's good, and it's only for Cowboys fans. It's the Cowboys Special from the Cowboys and Papa John's. Get a large one-topping pizza for only $9.99. That's right, Cowboys fans. Get a large one-topping pizza for only $9.99 every day of the week. It's America's team. It's America's pizza. It's the Cowboys Special. Order today, in person, on the phone, or online. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the classic dilemma at
opponent like that, opening night, all of the hype for the game. But, of course, as soon as the game was over, then Robert Saleh is in his post-game press conference announcing that Aaron Rodgers' season is most likely over. Although I don't know. I mean, now it sounds like he had this kind of progressive new surgery on his Achilles, and they may wave a magic wand over it, and he could be back if they make the playoffs. Who knows? But yeah, it was. And it's funny, even during the game, we were told it was an ankle. So the word Achilles really wasn't spoken, at least officially, from the Jets till the game was over. All of the Twitter doctors were speculating that he was done. Yeah. But, I mean, I've certainly seen plenty of medical reports go sideways off of Twitter. So, we waited until the game was over to get the official word, got the official word that at least the regular season for him is done. But yeah, and combine that with the emotional way that they won. It was a crazy night.
Bob, with Zach Wilson now back in the saddle for the Jets, there has to have been some growth through the years. Actually, through the year for him, at least the training camp aspect, the new coordinator, a bunch of things probably more positive than maybe what he endured last year.
Yeah, I mean, you would assume so. He had Aaron Rodgers in his ear for the last 5 months or so. And we'll have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, FaceTimed him a bunch this week. And when Aaron returns to the team after, I assume he's going to come back and spend time with the team as the year goes on. That has to help a quarterback, right? I mean, that's like a master's degree in quarterbacking in a very compacted amount of time. But we won't know until we actually see him go out there and do this. And watching last Monday night, the only touchdown pass he threw was when they got, if I remember right, a takeaway kind of near midfield.
Yes.
And, he had a short field, so that obviously helped. He didn't have any 75-yard touchdown drives put together, and it was a low-scoring game. They will try and run the ball. They will try and play defense. They will try and play field position, and they will try and not put it all on his shoulders the way that they were obviously going to put it all on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders. There's a certain way that you have to play, I think, now that's different than the way they were planning on playing all year. But maybe he will be a different player than we saw at the end of last season. They certainly hope so, because last year he got to a place mentally where he was in the tall weeds. So I do think he will be more comfortable and more confident. But, I mean, until he actually goes out on a stage like this against an opponent like this and shows it, how would you know?
Bob, with Breece Hall coming back and then going out and getting Dalvin Cook, but this team, as you've described, the path for, at least for victory, is run the football, play defense. That's kind of, I feel like, what you're saying, and I agree with you totally. But this team with Breece Hall and Cook can do that. They can go out and run the football and be successful, right?
Yes. I mean, and that was the formula. If you go back to the last time the Jets were really any good, and you go back to Rex Ryan being the coach and Mark Sanchez being the quarterback, that's how they got to back-to-back championship games. They had the best run game in the NFL. They had a really, really good defense, and they played around the quarterback rather than through the quarterback. Now, no one wants to do that long term, but that's the hand they've been dealt this year with where Zach Wilson is in his development. And I think there's a chance that this run game could be even more explosive and better than the run game that they leaned on when Rex took them to back-to-back championship games in 2009 and 2010. So there is a very clear way that they will want to and will have to play. You'll see a lot of tight ends. You'll see running the ball. You'll see 3rd down and 7, 3rd down and 8, sometimes screens and bubbles and, draw plays and playing field position, not being afraid to punt it away and let their team go play defense. And maybe that will be different for Zach 5, 6, 7 weeks from now than it is right now. I would think there might be a developmental process that their offense goes through as the season goes on. If you can put a cocoon around him to a certain extent early on and then let him ease into it and maybe gain confidence as the year goes. But yes, having Breece Hall healthy, not as explosive as he was last year. He had a breakaway run last week that got caught from behind. Last year, he would not have been caught. He would have scored. So you can see that he's still on a pitch count. He's coming off an ACL. Not I mean, even if he's 80% of what he was, he's still way better than a lot of running backs in the NFL. And then Dalvin Cook, that's a great 1-2 punch. But that will be what they have to play through.
Bob, on defense, I think it's watching you on tape. It's an outstanding defense at all levels. The defensive line, linebackers, secondary. I wanted to ask you because I was going back and just like watching the Buffalo game. Will there be ever a possibility where Sauce Gardner or Reed travel? It looked like to me that they're a left and a right kind of a cornerback combination. Has there been some experiences you had where, okay, they're going to travel a guy with, say, a CD Lamb in a game?
Yeah, not that I can remember. They play left and right.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's what they've done. And they probably play a little bit more zone as well than the Rex defenses used to play with Revis. Like, Revis would travel, and they would play man-to-man. And they would have Antonio Cromartie at one side, Revis on the other. Revis would basically cross out your best wide receiver, and then they would even put the safety help over the top of the second best receiver because Revis was just that good. That's not the style that this defense plays. It's more conventional where it is left and right. But, I mean, with where the wide receiver position has gone now in the NFL, even the number 2 wide receiver on a lot of teams is as good, if not better, than the ones used to be. That's just the evolution of that position and where the game has gone. Everybody, it seems, has at least 2 or 3 good wide receivers on their roster. So there's always going to be someone that Sauce is going to cover that the other team wants to throw to. So you're right. I mean, I guess, obviously, with the Cooks injury, maybe CD is kind of the clear-cut number 1 here. But I have not seen them travel, Sauce. So I don't know. It's a good question. We'll see what they do today. And if they do maybe a little bit of that, I would be surprised.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Back here on the official Dallas Cowboys pregame show, Kevin Gray here of 105 through The Fan, speaking with the Jets play-by-play voice, Bob Wischusen, right here ahead of Cowboys-Jets today. Bob, as we get ready for this game today, what's an X factor for the Jets that you're looking at that will give them a key to success in today's game?
Their pass rush. I mean, that will always give them a chance because they have, I think, the deepest, maybe not in terms of the best 4 they can put on the field, the best front 4 in the NFL, but I think if you take in totality the 10 defensive linemen that they have on the roster, and really 8 of the 10 are capable of rushing the passer. Jermaine Johnson obviously looks even better than he did last year. This kid, Will McDonald, that they drafted from Iowa State, had a terrific preseason, and those are the backup guys, right? You still have Quinnen Williams in the middle, John Franklin Myers, Bryce Huff has been a really good pass rusher. So the fact that they can consistently get pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz, and they can roll those guys because they're so deep, they'll have fresh pass rushers on the field all the time, and having a fourth quarter pass rush can just flat out win you games. So if there's an X factor, that for them would be it.
Bob, this team had an emotional win last week, and you detailed some of it. With Robert Saleh bringing this group in today, if you're him, what kind of message are you delivering to his team today, knowing that there's a lot of people who feel like this team doesn't necessarily have a chance against one of the better defenses in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. For the rest of the season, it's us against the world if you're the Jets, right? Because they were basically told that their season was over when Aaron Rodgers went down on Monday night. They don't believe that, nor can they, right? The other 52 guys in the locker room not only feel like they still have a very good team, but even last season, when they were about halfway through the year, they got to like 5-2 and then 7-4, if I remember right, last year. Kind of alternated wins and losses. But past the midway point of the season, they were above 500 and controlled their playoff destiny last year. And then they were decimated on offense by injuries. Elijah Vera-Tucker's their best offensive lineman. They lost him for the year. And Breece Hall, who was their best offensive player, they lost him for the year in the same game. And they had Corey Davis, who was arguably their best receiver last year, he went down as well. So now you got Zach Wilson out there without his 3 best players around him, and then he got hurt. He got beat up mentally as well, and the season kind of went off a cliff. But I think they're looking back at when we were healthy last year with Zach Wilson as the quarterback. We're 3 games over 500. So playing the way that we talked about them having to play, running the ball and playing defense. So they think there is a pathway to still be a playoff team this year. But do you now change the expectations from, like, what's a good season? I would say for them, make the playoffs. That would be a good season. When Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, the good season is get to, if not win, the Super Bowl. And I think realistically, you have to probably dial back those expectations now when you lose, a first-ballot Hall of Famer at the most important position.
Last question before we let you go, Bob. What's the one thing you want to see within the first 5 to 7 minutes of this game that gives you indication that the Jets are going to be hopefully competitive in this game today, given the circumstances that they're dealing with, especially at quarterback today?
Yeah, if they can run the ball. Right, and that's really what it comes down to. It is a line of scrimmage game for them. Last year, when they were 100% healthy, they were a problem at the line of scrimmage. Aaron Rodgers said it. One of the reasons that he was convinced to sign with the Jets was last year the Jets went to Lambeau as like a 9-point underdog or an 8-point underdog, the way they are today, and they dominated the line of scrimmage and really beat the Packers up in their building and physically just shoved them around and won the game. So that's the way that they're going to try and play. And now you've got guys like Garrett Wilson. You've got a bunch of tight ends that can catch the ball. All of those guys will be very dangerous players off of play action. But in order for play action to work, you have to be able to run the ball.
Sure.
So that's it. I mean, it's if the Jets, offensive line, defensive line, are controlling the line of scrimmage, they're going to have a chance in every game that they play because they can then not put it all on the quarterback.
Bob, thank you so much for the time today as the Cowboys get a visit from the New York Jets. We appreciate your time here today on the official Dallas Cowboys pregame show. Have a great call today.
Thanks, guys.
That is Bob Wischusen, the New York Jets play-by-play man, good enough to join us here on the official Dallas Cowboys pregame show. Appreciate Reliant and NRG Company also with us here on the official Dallas Cowboys pregame show. Kevin Gray of 105.3 The Fan is the official Dallas Cowboys pregame show. Coming up next, we get some CBS treatment. Tracy Wolfson, who's going to be on the sidelines for CBS Sports, joins us next on the official Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Spurs assistant coach Becky Hammond on Inspiration.
I hope it's an inspiration to girls out there, being the first woman to coach an NBA team. But I've always been more inspired by the future, not by what I've done, but by what's coming next.
What do you want to do next? Whether it's buying a home, growing your wealth, or protecting your assets, SWBC is here to support your next steps toward financial success with personalized service and expert advice.
Visit SWBC.com to take the next step toward your financial future.
You can trust your car to the place with the star to get you to the things you love or travel near and far.
To kick off Week 2, Cowboys-Jets, AT&T Stadium. The Miller Lite West Plaza is where we reside. We got Bryan Broaddus, the Super Bowl champion, myself, Eric Chiofalo. It's great to have you in the official pregame party of America's team, and the party gets even better as we welcome in CBS Television's Tracy Wolfson. She'll be on today's call with Jim Nance, Tony Romo. She'll be roaming the sidelines, talking Cowboys and Jets for 3 hours. Tracy, thanks for giving us some time. How are you on this Cowboy game day?
I'm doing great, loving it. Thanks for having me again.
Our pleasure. Always great to have you. What's the first thing coming to mind for you for this one? I mean, I'm sure the storylines, it's been centered around Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson on the Jets side of things.
Yeah, no doubt. And, being in New York, you understand how the fans feel about this. And certainly the air was just let out of that stadium. I was actually there for that game, and so many expectations coming in, but we sat with Zach Wilson yesterday, and he has a newfound confidence coming into this game. He said those 5 months learning under Aaron certainly has helped him, has changed him. He learned so much, and Robert Saleh will even tell you, he told us, that he is light years where he was from last season. So, I mean, the key certainly is going to be to protect him, especially against Micah Parsons and this defense.
All right, Tracy, you do a great job of getting all that information for your TV. What does Tracy Wolfson really think? What's your thought? I mean, when you saw the injury and all, what came in your mind about, man, this is not going to be good for the Jets, or that, wait, Zach Wilson, maybe a year of maturity, well, maybe they'll be better.
I felt bad. I felt bad for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you can see watching Hard Knocks, hearing it from the team, the expectations, the excitement on this season, and you just feel for him. Four snaps in, and the whole team just in shock. But honestly, I watch from the sidelines of teams, and when they have camaraderie, when they all believe, and this team has that. They have that kind of it factor. They all got behind Zach Wilson at halftime of that game. And of course, that's like the only thing you're going to do at that point, right?
Sure.
You just have no choice. But I think this team is different, and I think they have the mental makeup to be able to overcome the loss of Aaron Rodgers and to get behind Zach Wilson. They certainly have one of the best defenses in the league. They have star players on the offensive side of the ball. So, look, I think they're coming in. They really have nothing to lose in this game. They're coming on the road here in Cowboys Stadium against one of the top defenses in the NFL. And I think they're going to come out and they're going to play their game and see what they have.
Tracy Wolfson with us here on The Fan. From a Cowboys side of things, you said you sat down with Zach Wilson in company with the Jets. Who'd you get to catch up with on the Cowboys side?
Yeah, of course. We spent some time with Dak, which we always enjoy. Had a chance to talk to Micah Parsons, and I just love watching him play, as all of us do, and we've had a chance to be with him these last few years, and just to see the way his game has grown and just the different things he's doing out there and how he's improving his body and working on new things. We heard about the boxing last week. He told us next year it's about jiu-jitsu. He incorporates wrestling into it. So, of course, sitting down with him is always great. Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, and Dan is just tremendous. The fact that he, passed up on some head coaching opportunities to come back to work with this defense, knowing how special it is. And then Mike McCarthy taking over the play calling. And we didn't get to see much of it last week, of course, with the shellacking of the Giants. So it'll be interesting to see his handprints all over it today.
Yeah, did you get the feel that they were hoping to be able to open some things up a little bit more today than they were able to last week?
I do, and I think the weather conditions certainly played a part, and Dak said that. He said it was not easy to grip the football, and that wet weather certainly threw a wrench into their plan of certain things they wanted to do. And then, of course, they didn't need to show anything. Why do that in week one when you're winning by that much? So I think the key, and that's what McCarthy told us, it's what Dak Prescott told us, is tempo and playing fast. And that's going to be the key to this offense.
Tracy, as Mike is now the primary play caller, and you talk about playing fast, and Eric was asking about opening things up, though, but it looks like no Brandon Cooks today. How do you feel like, though, the Cowboys will manage without him, with CeeDee Lamb and others having to shoulder the load?
Yeah, I think they feel comfortable with the guys, behind him. No doubt, I think they'll utilize Turpin some more. I think Gallup will step up, and of course CD. I mean, they are going against a very good coverage unit from the Jets. But I do think they'll try and run the ball. I mean, that is their staple. That's what they want to do. They'll maybe get the tight end, Ferguson, more involved. They didn't have the best game week one. Definitely looking to do some more things with him. Utilizing him as the fullback as well. And so I think, they'll mix it up and try and get their opportunities on the outside. But really it's about getting in and out of that huddle quickly, getting those plays in quickly, tempo, fast, and just trying to grind it out, get some yardage, and not make mistakes.
Tracy Wolfson with us here on The Fan. Now, last week you got a chance to be in Foxborough and hang out with Tom Brady during the special ceremony there. How was that?
Yeah, I was just telling a funny story as I was getting ready for my halftime interview with him, and I went back to my spot just to get, quickly make sure I look okay, whatever, and we were, my audio guy's like, I think we got to get back. So as we're running back across the field, not knowing Tom Brady's going to run out of the tunnel and run the length of the field, I basically ran directly into him in that moment. I was the only one on that side of the field. It was very embarrassing, but it was really incredible to be there. They've made $250 million of renovations. He was up in that lighthouse ringing that bell, which is a new tradition. You could see the emotions on his face, what it was like for him to be back. Said it'll always be a Patriot. We spent some time with Robert Kraft. Their relationship is something really special. So to be able to be there for that moment, to see what it meant to Tom Brady and his family, it certainly was an incredible opportunity.
Tracy, there's what I really love about the way the schedule plays out is the fact it's not so much CBS doing AFC games and Fox doing AFC games, that we do get to see you. How do you see, I know it's only week 2, but did you have an idea of like how this might all play out? Did you have any thoughts of like a Super Bowl pick, or hey, this team I think is really, really going to be good now that you get to see both the conferences play?
Yeah, I don't like to do picks, but I can tell you from what I watch, certainly the Jets, their Super Bowl aspirations were there, and not saying that they don't have those aspirations still and that they can't make a far run, because I truly believe that they can. They have the pieces to do it. I think this Cowboys team is one of those teams that has to be mentioned when it comes to Super Bowl. I felt that way before the season. Certainly it was only one game watching them. I watched on the car ride home from New England, watched that game from start to finish. We'll see today how they come out, how they fare against this Jets team. I saw Philly in person. They certainly have some work to do, but those Super Bowl hangovers, that's real. And I believe in this Philadelphia team is going to be very difficult down the stretch. But it is hard to tell. I mean, you saw Kansas City lose week 1. You saw Buffalo lose week 1. You saw Cincinnati lose week 1. These are all teams you expected to make a run to wind up in the AFC Championship game when it's all said and done. And certainly that could still be the case.
How much belief do you have in your Big Blue Michigan Wolverines, Tracy?
I got a lot of belief, but now we're starting to get into the meat of the schedule. So,
that's right.
Next week we got Rutgers, but after that it's just going to get, not that that's going to be easy, by the way, but it's just going to get harder and harder. But I like what I've seen so far, and I think you get Harbaugh back, and I can't wait. I hope we're playing in the national championship game.
Well, Tracy, when they were when Coach was putting substitute coaches in, I thought you were going to get a call. I really did.
I actually texted Harbaugh, do you need me? If you need me, I can get the weekend off. I'm sure.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I think you could have handled UNLV quite easily, to be honest with you there.
And Bowling Green.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. It would have been. But how great for those coaches to be able to get that opportunity, especially his dad. That was awesome.
Yes. And this J.J. McCarthy's actually been pretty dang impressive as well. It looks like you guys might have a legit quarterback right now.
Oh, we do. And I think you saw that last year as well, no doubt. And he's taken another step forward. And not only is he so good on the field, and you've seen everything expand for him to be able to do so many different things, but off the field, he's just a tremendous guy, a tremendous student, a great player, a great person. And that's what you like to see. So, I think the sky's the limit for him. The key is health. You just got to stay healthy. I think if that's the case, his name could be up there when the Heisman Trophy is being talked about.
So how do you like being in the DFW? You get to come out here every once in a while. Did you have some fun last night?
I love it. I love it here. I'm going to be back for Thanksgiving, our annual or every other year Thanksgiving trip to Dallas. So look forward to that. But you mentioned how this whole new NFL contract goes. So we don't get as many Cowboy games, but we know we will get at least one, and we get that extra one being that it is Thanksgiving. So I feel good. This is obviously a huge matchup, no doubt, to start this early season, but we won't see you again until November.
Well, we look forward to that once again, Tracy. Enjoy the game, and appreciate the time as always.
Love it. Thanks for having me, guys. Good luck today.
Our pleasure. There she goes, CBS sideline reporter Tracy Wolfson on today's call with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Cowboys-Jets. We're live inside of the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. The gates have opened. The doors have opened. The party is underway. It's big, it's good, and it's only for Cowboys fans. The Cowboys special from Papa John's, a large one-topping pizza for only $9.99. Order today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so as we continue, Broaddus, looking at this matchup today, are you more interested in looking at Sauce Gardner and these wide receivers and how they approach CeeDee Lamb, or is it Zach Martin versus Quinnen Williams? Because I'm trying to decide when I'm not ball watching what matchups am I looking at, and Zach Martin and Quinnen Williams it might be the one seed for me in terms of things I'm most interested in.
Yeah, I think the thing that it's been interesting to see or to hear what Bob Wischusen is talking about, how the Jets' path. I feel like I know what the Jets' path to a victory today would be, and it's going to have to be run the ball. I think it's really interesting that he brought up the Green Bay game last year when the Jets went to Green Bay and they were big dogs, and then were able to come away with that by just controlling the line of scrimmage. So it really does talk to or answers your question. You say, which are you interested in, their defensive line or maybe having to do with what's going on the outside? I do think this game is going to be won up front, and I'm not trying to Vince Lombardi you here. It's always one of the trenches. But today,
seal here, seal
there, and you run it in the. But to me, this game, whichever offensive line is able to win or play on the opponents on their side of the line, that's how this game is going to go today. Because I think the Cowboys are going to want balance. Tracy was talking about playing with some speed and some tempo. Maybe they feel like the way that the Jets rotate their defensive linemen, that they want to catch them in some trying to change personnel out.
Gotcha.
But if I'm the Jets, I'm running the football, and I'm trying to take CeeDee Lamb out of this game.
And I think this is also a really big test for what the conversation was all offseason last year with the turnovers, especially the interceptions. This is a Jets defense that is very opportunistic. They know how to take the ball away. They just did it to Josh Allen last week. I think it's a huge test, the first legit test of, okay, let's make sure the Cowboys do know how to take care of the football. Heck, last week when Pollard fumbled, it was just one of those nights where the ball was bouncing your way.
Broaddus happened to be right there.
Broaddus right there. So
and our guy Zach Martin was right there too.
That's right. Zach was ready to scoop and score too. Broaddus just wanted to get on it.
You're
Zach
right.
was ready to scoop and score, but I think there's going to be a huge test today offensively to make sure that they can take care of the football, and it's something they talked about all offseason.
Yeah, Dak, and throwing the ball against this Jets defense you have to be so sure where you're going. You can't, any hesitation by the quarterback, any hesitation of route, and like I say, Tolbert, Gallup, you're on display today.
Yeah, man, I'm looking at Michael Gallup.
CeeDee Lamb on display today. And there were some times last year where CeeDee Lamb cut routes short and it resulted in interception. So if you're a Cowboy receiver today, you better make sure you finish your routes because Dak Prescott's going to read it one way, and you better be damn sure, Dak Prescott, that you're not hesitating, and if you're confident, throw it. But if not, find something else to do to live for another day.
Yeah, and without Cooks, I mean, everybody steps up with a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more opportunity. But the talk is Jalen Tolbert, but I'm really looking at Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
This is Michael Gallup's opportunity to show, hey, I am the number 2. You guys brought in Brandon Cooks. I get it. Last year I wasn't myself. Let's hope that Michael Gallup is back to being the man that we saw for many years leading up to last year.
You're going to need him.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how Michael Gallup responds today. All right, here we go. We're inside of the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. We inch closer and closer to kickoff. Let's go inside the Star with our Cowboy insider, Bobby Belt, next right here on The Fan. us live at AT&T Stadium. Just under 2 hours to kick off Cowboys and Jets. It's the official pregame party of America's team. And Broaddus, before we get to Bobby, I did want to point out, what have you always said about the NFL? It is a
strange lady.
A strange lady. It is congratulations to Joe Burrow, who is 6 quarters into his NFL season. His longest completion is 12 yards.
Yeah.
That Bengals offense.
8 of 11 for 35 yards right now.
Not clicking on all cylinders, to say the least. At one point today, you had Pat Mahomes intentionally throwing to a offensive lineman.
Yes.
And that was certainly not how they drew it up. And Justin Fields has thrown 10 passes. He's taken 4 sacks today for the Chicago Bears. So that's how things are going a little bit around
it's
the
interesting
NFL.
Because that game's in Tampa, right? And we were all thinking that Tampa might be one of these teams that might be one of the worst in the league. They got to get a big victory in Minnesota. Now they're beating up on the Bears a little bit, with the sacks and stuff. So Tampa 2-0. I mean, if you said Tampa winning 5-6 games this year, you would have probably said, "Oh, okay, that's a pretty good bet." It looks like they might be a little bit better than that.
All right, let's go up into the Brad Sham radio booth inside of AT&T Stadium, inside the Star with Bobby Belt, our Cowboys insider. Bobby, so much to get to in regards to this matchup. Doesn't look like Brandon Cooks is going to play offensively for the Cowboys. We know Tyler Smith is going to be out once again. Which one of those hurts the most versus this Jets defense?
I don't know how much they're going to be able to just stretch things vertically against this Jets defense. So, I mean, you'd love to have Brandon Cooks in there, and he provides a lot of speed and can help, help you to vary up your passing attack. But, I mean, they really could stand to have, I think, Tyler Smith's power and his athleticism inside in this game when you've got to go up against guys like Quinnen Williams and Quentin Jefferson and some of the, complex things that the Jets like to do with their defensive line. So, for me, no doubt about it, if you told me I could have one of them in here today, I would pick Tyler Smith.
Bobby, how important is, and I've kind of been harping on this, I know we talked about it on Love of the Star, about Dak Prescott being really committed to throwing the football today. And I mean committed in a way of right read and letting that thing fly. Now, don't take any chances. Do you see it that way, or is it something you have a little bit different of how you think you need Dak to play today?
No, I mean, I think that it would be good for Dak to go ahead and try and find the mismatch with CeeDee Lamb. The Jets like to play guys on particular sides. They don't travel guys. So Sauce Gardner, if you're on the defense's view, he will play the left side of the formation. You get DJ Reed on the right. You get Michael Carter playing nickel inside. And so I would look to just try and match up CeeDee Lamb as favorably as I could and try and get the ball in his hands quickly and let him, make some run after the catch. It's tough because, the Jets are a very disciplined tackling football team. They play really fast. You may not get a whole lot of opportunity to catch and run, but take those opportunities where you can create the mismatches is how I view it for Dak in the passing game, because I think it may be difficult for the running game to get going with the way the Jets are in the trenches, the way Quincy Williams and C.J. Mosley really attack the ball and see things really quickly and move really quickly. I just think that your best shot today to potentially, really go at the Jets defense might just be to work CeeDee Lamb in the slot and find the best mismatch possible.
Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan. Bobby, the last 2 years the Cowboys have had their season end to the San Francisco 49ers. They've done things tangibly to try and compete better with a team like the Niners. Do you see similarities with this Jets team and those Niners?
Yeah, I mean, and even if I didn't see the similarities, what matters is that the Cowboys locker room sees the similarities. All this week, Terence Steele talked about, you watch them, they look very similar to San Francisco. Tony Pollard had said, yes, absolutely. The D-line play, the games and stunts that they like to play, that's all very similar to San Francisco. Not a huge surprise. Robert Saleh, of course, was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers before he became the Jets head coach. But it was Zach Martin, I think, who really, got detailed about it and said that, when you watch the Jets on tape, the defense, there's a lot of San Francisco that pops out. And he says it's not just about, the scheme. It's how guys play. It's how they're coached to play. And he said, quote, they get in those jet stances, try to get up the field, penetrate, ruin your combination blocks, and get to the quarterback. There's a lot of similarities there between them and San Francisco. So the interesting thing about this game today is that, you're right. Dallas has seemingly made tweaks to their roster structure the last 2 years, and tweaks to their franchise based on really not measuring up to San Francisco at the end of these seasons. In 21 it was about the physicality. Well, we need to get more physical. You weren't able to really move the ball in 22 in that game, in the playoff game, and they respond by kind of changing up the scheme and changing the play caller and doing some different things. So San Francisco has been a push for the Cowboys in recent years. They'll have them here in a few weeks. And so this is a good sort of, not to look past the Jets, but it's a good dress rehearsal, I think, for what they're going to see from the 49ers. They may have some of the answers after today about how well their changes stack up against a team that's become sort of their measuring stick.
Bobby, are we going to see Turpin in the backfield more than Deuce Vaughn today?
It's a good question. I think we'll see Turpin more just on the field. In the backfield, he really didn't get a lot of opportunities until the game was out of hand. Deuce Vaughn, that is, against the Giants. Whereas, when there was still a question about the game, you had Turpin out there doing things in the backfield and the slot. So I would say probably Turpin, especially because I think he played 11 snaps last week and touched the ball 6 times. So there's definitely when he's on the field, they're looking to get him involved. So I think they have a defined plan for what they want to do with him. But Deuce Vaughn is a little redundant, you might say, to what Turpin's doing in terms of the skill set.
Sure.
So I guess if they go a little further into this game and they're just really struggling, maybe I could see them tapping into Deuce Vaughn. But I think right now they're just trying to bring him along and get him comfortable and drop him in moments where it makes sense to them, which is, large leads late, kill the clock, just try to get out of there without any injuries to the starters. So I would say probably Turpin.
Who's the guy you think steps up in the absence of Cooks? Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is going to be a focal point, but if the Jets are going to do everything they can to take him out of the passing game, is it a Ferguson game? Do you trust Michael Gallup to return to form, or is it maybe your guy Tolbert finally getting some opportunities?
I mean, look, I think that every game is going to be a Ferguson game or be a tight end game, to be honest. We saw last week that while the game was still in question, I think Dak had 11 attempts and 6 of them were targeted to Jake Ferguson. So we know how much money he helped make Dalton Schultz. He's a guy who does like to incorporate the tight end as a chain mover, and it looks like that hasn't changed with some of the changes that have occurred for the Cowboys offense. So I think Ferguson makes a lot of sense in every game, especially a game like this where you're just trying to, look for the profits. You always take a profit, as the coaches say. So you just look for, little incremental places where you can gain yards. I think Ferguson's part of that. And then, I'd love to see Gallup step up and kind of return to where he was. Felt like last week he still was having some trouble getting going. It felt like they had to really make a concerted effort to get him the ball right out of the second half. That felt on purpose, the first throw to him. So I know they want to get him involved. I know they want, Jalen Tolbert's confidence to continue to build up. But I think in terms of the passing game today, CeeDee Lamb and the tight end group is probably more the focus.
Bobby, did Tyron Smith turn the clock back last week?
It's tough to say. Look, he looked good for what we saw, I think, but he was also not really asked to block very long. Dak's time to throw was 2.37 seconds, which is almost a half second faster than what he's averaged over his career. And so there wasn't the same ask of Tyron Smith in terms of blocking. And I think that, while he did do a good job in the little bit that we saw of him, I want to see him, block for an extended period in a game where the Cowboys are really trying to throw the ball a little bit before I feel totally comfortable saying that. But, he's still a incredibly strong player, or an incredibly strong tackle. And the question for him is going to be obviously about some of those more athletic guys. And also, how much he holds up in terms of his health.
Bobby, thanks as always for the time, brother. And we'll see you in the press box here in just a bit. Love you too. There goes Cowboys insider Bobby Belt here on the official pregame show of America's Team, brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. It is Miller time, and it is Terence Steele time. Player profile today, Chris Arnold, the 3-time Hall of Famer, standing by with Cowboys right tackle Terence Steele. Take it away, CA.
We're visiting with Terence Steele. How you doing, Terence?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. You guys are undefeated, the highest point totals of an offense to start the season. Defense pitched a shutout. And how does it feel to be dry?
Yeah, it feels awesome. Yeah, that game up there was a wild one, but we came out victorious, so we can't beat that.
The offense did not have any turnovers. In fact, you pass protected well. Can you talk about the fact you did not give up any pressures, you personally?
Yeah. No, I mean, taking care of the ball, and that's the main goal. Keeping it offense and taking away on defense. So that was our motto going into that game, and just no pressures. I mean, that's a standard. That's what I try to aim for, game in and game out. So.
And you basically came through it pretty healthy. Can you talk about the status of the offensive line going into this Jets game? Because there are still some bumps and bruises, Tyler and everybody.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact. I don't know what Tyler's timeline is, or if he's going to be up or down. I have no idea. But either way it goes, man, we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Speaking of injuries, it seems like you're ahead of schedule. In fact, the timetable, what was it going to be, and how did you get healthy so soon?
Yeah. So my timetable, they were looking probably like 10, 11, 12 months. I came back in like 7. 6 or it was like 7, but yeah, just a testament to just the hard work I put in, going with Britt, and just seeing my guys outside the facility, meeting with them every day, and it was a all hands in collection of trying to get me back, and it worked. So.
Let's talk about your big brother. Zach Martin told me he's your big brother. You his guy. Yep. Can you talk about you guys' relationship and how it's grown over the years?
Oh yeah, Zach's always been my guy. Just ever since I got in, he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. And if I have anything I need from him, he'll give it to me, let me know, and he'll speak his knowledge. He won't withhold anything. So he's my guy for sure.
Okay, on the Jets, give me a quick scouting report, because they got a stout defense, and they have to have that defense try to win the game for them, because no Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, yeah, and like you said, man, their D lines lead the heart of the team. So all big guys up front. They got some really good players, but we got to neutralize it with our guys up front. So it'll be a good battle for us.
Game day, what do you try to do? Is there you superstitious at all? Is there a thing that you like to do? I know Zach used to like to throw the ball around before the game.
Yeah.
He used to throw the ball around a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I find a routine, I stick to it. I guess you call it superstitious. I just like to keep my routine.
Eat anything particular?
It depends. If it's a morning game, I won't eat anything. I just don't like eating. Right. If it's like a late game, like you played this past Sunday, I'll eat breakfast and I won't eat anything else the rest of the day. It's just how I am. I don't know why, but yeah.
Final question. You got a couple of little guys that can line up behind you. I'm talking about Kevontae Turpin and Deuce Vaughn. Yeah. Can you talk about the fact that how the defensive guys really can't see them? Was it like blocking for them?
Yeah, no, they're both those guys are really dynamic players, super quick, and they got the speed, they got the athleticism to make guys miss, and like you said, their stature, they're shorter players, so it's going to be hard to see them behind our old line. So good luck to them.
All right, and good luck to you this afternoon against those Jets. Thanks, Terence.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Terence Steele.
Thank you, CA. Thank you, Terence Steele, for today's player profile, and thank you to the great folks of Legends Hospitality. All I can do, Cowboys fans and Tolos, is highly recommend you making your way to AT&T Stadium right now. You hop on that burrito quesadilla. My dear Lord, wow. Slow-cooked beef marinated in Mexican spices, creamy pepper jack, and Oaxaca cheeses, grilled inside that 17-inch flour tortilla. Absolutely to die for. They just gave us a little sample, and there is all the burrito quesadilla action inside of AT&T Stadium today, so make sure you stop by. You can get it in the upper concourse sections 408 and 438. The Vaqueros stands as well, main concourse sections 204, 229, upper concourse 416, 446. Wherever you can get that burrito quesadilla, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hop on that. That was a freaking home run, sir.
I'll tell you what, I thank Chris and Terence Steele for that 4-minute and 30-second interview they did.
You just housed that quesadilla.
I purposely knew that we were going to get something great today to eat.
It's always fantastic.
Didn't eat. Didn't have any breakfast. Didn't do anything.
That's a veteran move.
Oh,
good call.
Yeah.
Good call. All right, let's hang out with Babe Laufenberg coming up next right here, getting you set for Cowboys and Jets live in the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium as we inch closer and closer to kickoff. Babe joins us next right here on The Fan. Here we go. Babe Laufenberg set to join us here live at AT&T Stadium. We're here in the Miller Lite West Plaza. Bryan, Broaddus, and myself, Eric Chiofalo. The pregame party is underway. This is fantastic. Are you kidding me? This is exactly what we want, man. This is a Cowboy game day. It's beautiful outside. A little bit too much in the way of Jets green, Broaddus.
Yeah.
But it's a party out here, man. And this thing is rocking and rolling. Set for Cowboys and Jets. We inch closer and closer to kickoff, and we welcome in Babe Laufenberg live here on the show. Babe, thanks for the time, sir. How are you on this game day?
I'm doing great. Really looking forward to this game. Really am.
Yeah, and obviously no Aaron Rodgers, so the shine is off just a touch. But how do you? I mean, the Cowboys come into this one probably super excited. Hey, we're going up against Zach Wilson today.
Well, it's funny how you hear the talk all through the week, right? Hey, we wanted their best. We wanted Aaron Rodgers. Kind of. I'll never forget 2017.
Just be honest, babe. No, we didn't. I mean, no, we didn't.
2017. Yeah. Zeke was week to week, remember, on the suspension?
Exactly.
So I'm on the field before one of the games, got one of the defensive coordinators who I know, I won't name his name, and I said something to the effect of not getting Zeke. I said, are you disappointed you don't get to face him? He said, are you kidding me? Like, we want to tackle that big horse? No. I said, I'm happy. So no one is happy. Let me first say, no one is happy that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. But at the end of the day, Mike McCarthy's going to get fired because he didn't win enough games, whether it's this year or 10 years from now.
Sure.
So if you look back, and this game with Aaron Rodgers would have cost him his job, because at the end of the year, they go, 7-10.
Right.
You're not going to look at it and say, but it was really fun going against Aaron. No. So their job got exponentially easier. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy today.
And I totally agree with you, babe. I mean, you've had the experience. You've lived this. I know on the personnel side of things, on a weekly thing, there are guys you hope that don't play. And I'm sure today, Brandon Cook's not playing for the Cowboys helps the Jets in their preparation. Am I correct about that, babe? With what they have to deal with Gallup kind of trying to find his way back, Tolbert a little bit, he's played better, but not on this type of stage.
Looking at a little bit of what the Cowboys went through in that 49ers game, playoff game last year.
Right.
Once they lost Tony Pollard, they didn't have enough weapons. And, Brandon Cooks, no question, hurts them. And one of the reasons I really liked where they went in the offseason with this offense was Brandon Cooks. He was the number one thing. He was the number one thing to me that elevated this offense that was going to take them, I don't want to say next level, but, man, they were going to be hard to deal with. They're not going to be as hard to deal with today. And, we talked plenty, obviously, about Sauce Gardner, the second-year Pro Bowl, All-Pro corner. But the other guy, DJ Reed, on the other side at corner, he's pretty darn good, too. So it's not like you're going to make a living over there.
Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. What do you see watching Zach Wilson, babe?
Well, here's what I see. I see a guy who was the second pick in the draft, right, 3 years ago. They could have taken Trey Lance, they could have taken Justin Fields, they could have taken Mac Jones, any of those guys in that draft. They went with Zach Wilson. He can throw the ball. Here's the funny thing. When you get a guy who's the backup, and now, by the way, Zach Wilson was 5-4 last year as a starter for the Jets. When they didn't start Zach Wilson, they were 2-6. This offense was terrible, just across the board. They lost Breece Hall, obviously, 7 games into the season. They did not have Dalvin Cook on the team that year, so they really didn't have a running game for him. But people treat it like you're coaching a pee-wee football team, right? And you've got a 10-year-old team, and little Johnny plays defensive tackle. And he's 3'6", and he weighs 220 pounds. But, man, he's always wanted to play some quarterback. You get to that last game, and you throw Johnny a bone, right? Mm-hmm. And mainly because Johnny's parents have a place in Aspen that you would like to get in the summer from them. And you let Johnny play a little quarterback. Zach Wilson is a damn NFL quarterback. He's a second pick in the draft. Bryan, you were old enough. I don't know about the other guys. Remember Elvis Gerbach came into Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
Steve Young was hurt. It's like, well, hey, nobody knew who Elvis Gerbach was until after the game when Elvis Gerbach beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were a championship team at that time. So I say don't go to sleep on Zach Wilson.
No, I think the thing with Zach Wilson to me is I think he benefited. Maybe initially he didn't benefit with Aaron Rodgers coming here or coming to the Jets, but he benefited from the experience that he got with him this past summer. Maybe there's a little bit different about preparation. Maybe there's a little bit different about how you go about your job. And then you go from there. So to me,
the bleep holes have arrived.
Yeah. So to me, babe, I think you'll see, a little bit better version of a Zach Wilson just from experience and just from the people that have been around him.
I agree 100%. If you don't learn something watching Aaron Rodgers and the way he does everything, approaches the game, studies what he's thinking. Plus, remember Nathaniel Hackett, their offensive coordinator for the Jets, he was with Aaron Rodgers, so Aaron is probably teaching him as much about this offense as Nathaniel Hackett did. But what's funny too, guys, I think it's interesting because, Mark Murphy, friends with Mark Murphy, Green Bay Packers president,
Sure.
he talked a little bit about how well Jordan Love played last week, and he said he was calm and confident. And I said, okay, the Aaron Rodgers big shoes to fill torch has been passed from Jordan Love to Zach Wilson, because last week it was Jordan Love making his first start for the Packers since Aaron Rodgers' departure, obviously. And it's like, hey, he has some big shoes to fill. And now Zach Wilson is in the big shoes to fill category today.
No question about it. Babe Laufenberg with us here on the official Cowboy pregame show, getting you set for Cowboys and Jets. What'd you think about the Cowboy offense last week, babe? They mixing a little Turpin. Here he is playing a little running back. Did you like that?
I did. I liked the result. That was interesting. I did not see him having that kind of a role in week one. The interesting thing about the Cowboys offense last week, I always say it's easy to play quarterback right from your living room or 200 feet in the air.
Yes.
It was the elements were terrible last week. So much of the game plan was restricted just by the fact that it made it really hard to throw and catch the ball. And we saw, obviously, the tight ends had some trouble that I don't think they're going to have today. But I think that restricted what you did offensively. You had to kind of throw out, 30% of your game plan due to the elements. So I think we'll see a little bit more of what the Mike McCarthy offense is really going to look like this afternoon.
Babe, are you concerned about the Jets just loading up and saying, we're just going to run the football and see if you can stop us doing it?
You know what's funny, Brian? I always think like a coach. I really do. And I'm always concerned about everything.
I am too.
So I look at, hey, this guy can beat you. That guy can beat you.
Right.
Here's the thing, too. I was talking to the Jets play-by-play guy as he was walking out after doing the pregame show. And he said, talked about running the ball. I said, yeah, but you can't fall into the trap of we'll run it on first down and we'll run it on second down, and then we'll count on Zach Wilson to convert on 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4. Because eventually, if you have 4 third down plays in that drive, Cowboys are going to get them off the field on one of them, right?
Right.
So, to me, I'm looking for 2 things today. One, take an early shot on Trayvon Diggs. Take a slant and go. Something like that. Trying to get him a bite, little double move, throw the ball up top on Trayvon Diggs. The second part of it is, again, you cannot restrict Zach Wilson to only throwing the ball on 3rd down. That's a losing proposition. So to me, I see a lot more first down throws for him because you're not getting all the exotic defenses. You're not getting all the blitzes, right? So I see more throwing it on first down than come back running it on second.
Without Cooks today offensively for the Cowboys, how much confidence do you have in Michael Gallup or Jalen Tolbert to step up?
They've got to demonstrate that they can do it. We saw a watered-down version, obviously, of Michael Gallup last year coming off the knee injury. We haven't seen enough of him, obviously, this year to say, okay, well, he's back. And we haven't seen Jalen Tolbert play in a pressure situation where they're counting on him. So we all saw training camp. We all saw preseason. We all talked about Jalen Tolbert's improvement, but it's one thing to show improvement in training camp, and it's another to come up against Sauce Gardner and say, okay, go beat that guy one-on-one.
No question about it. This Jets defense is nothing to be fooled with. Babe, you're the man. Thanks for the time, sir. Enjoy the game.
Okay, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There he goes, Babe Laufenberg, right here on the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Today's game between the New York Jets and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium is brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, zero sugar, made for Cowboys watching. Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Tolo, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Broaddus, we know the Cowboys got a dominant pass rush. These Jets do as well. How do they go about doing it? Is this just, hey, our 4 guys are better than your 5 and we're just going to unleash our dogs? Or do they dial it up, exotic blitzes and things like that?
No, and just looking at early season, and again, this week too, but just kind of some things that they showed against the Buffalo Bills, it really is about the 4-man rush. It's about rotating guys. It's what we call a wide 9 defense, where the 9 hole is the farthest hole. It's the gaps that you're responsible for. Odd numbers to the left, even numbers to the right. But that when you play, they play with some width to their defense. And what they want to do is they want to get on your outside shoulder and they want to run up the field as fast as they can. And they do a pretty good job of that. And maybe when you get some inside movement or some twist, you might get in that wide 9 look. You'll get some slant fronts. Maybe they'll slant to the tight end side. Maybe they slant away to try and maybe catch you a little bit in some run game stuff where all of a sudden you're not quick enough to go get, you're trying to get blocks and now they're running away and then there's no holes for you to run the football. But it's going to be about them just getting that 4-man pressure, occasional slot blitz. You might see the slot, especially if the slot's tight to the line of scrimmage, to say outside the tackle, then you might see the blitz. If you come from depth and you come from width on Prescott, he knows. He's going to see that. So it's probably going to have to be pressure from close, tight slot inside, and then it might be a linebacker too, sell out. There were a couple of snaps against the Bills late in that game where they just sit both inside linebackers to try and make something happen. I think they want to be careful. They've got the type of secondary that can cover man for man and be okay. I mean, it's not like the Jets and what the Giants were dealing with last week with rookie corners.
Right.
These are legitimate, a legitimate secondary that can play against you.
And I know you keep talking about this Jets rushing attack. How do you feel like there's some new guys in there with Marquise Bell and whatnot defensively for the Cowboys at linebacker. Do you have confidence that they can slow them down?
The thing that worries me a little bit is what we saw early, that first drive of the game against the Giants, where it was Saquon Barkley for 5, Saquon Barkley for 7, okay, Daniel Jones for 8 or 9. That's the thing. The Giants, I don't think – the Jets can't afford to get their quarterback banged up in this game. They just can't, for the season. So I don't know. I mean, I could see Zach Wilson running if, in fact, things do break down. I told you this earlier. I think he's one of these guys that if he sees the first thing he sees, he's going to throw the ball that direction.
Yep.
If he doesn't see it, he's going to run. And so that's what I worry about. I could see the Jets just saying, all right, Dallas, we're just going to pound the football at you. We're going to take it off the edge, go right, go left, go right, go left. Maybe not deal so much inside, but they're going to make these linebackers have to cover some ground. Clark, Van Der Esch, those guys, Parsons, they're going to have to be on their horse when that ball's spilling to the edge.
It's a pregame party out here in the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium, getting you set for Cowboys and Jets. Let's get the scoop. Who's inactive? Who's in? Who's out? Christy Scales, we get the scoop next right here on The Fan.
It's big.
And Jets, week 2 of the 2023 NFL season. Welcome into the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. It's time to get the scoop from Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales. We go inside of AT&T Stadium right there on the turf. Christy, what do you know? Happy game day.
Happy game day, and not such a happy game day for Brandon Cooks not being able to make his Cowboys debut yet, so we're still waiting since Brandon, as a veteran, didn't play in the preseason. But among the other inactives, no surprise that Tyler Smith, the left guard, is missing his second straight game with a hamstring injury, and of course Donovan Wilson still working back from that calf injury. But the other inactives, Noah Igbenogany, who of course was the first Dallas Cowboy to score a touchdown this year. That was on the blocked field goal last week at MetLife Stadium. He's inactive today, as is cornerback Eric Scott and rookie defensive end Junior Fehoko. But having Noah down and Eric down, that means that Jordan Lewis, the veteran nickel corner, is going to be playing his first game since that really devastating foot injury, which was last year against the Lions on October 23rd. So Jordan is the backup to Deron Bland as the nickel corner, but they're hoping to get him about 10 to 15 plays or so, and probably rotate in a couple series, a few series. So we'll see how that goes. If they go to a penny defense where they go heavy at cornerback, we may see him jump out there as well. But great to see Jordan Lewis back on the field. And then with Brandon Cooks being down, we get to see rookie wide receiver Jalen Brooks, who was coach's decision inactive last week. But we'll get to see him finally make his regular season debut. Of course, he had that very strong training camp in preseason. So it'll be good to see Jalen Brooks out there. He'll get a lot of work on special teams because with Igbenogany down, you'll see Brooks pick up a lot of that slack. Maybe snacks too, but yep. Especially with Jordan Lewis, who doesn't play special teams. So good to see Jordan Lewis and Jalen Brooks make their regular season debuts.
Christy, did anybody come up, or did you get to talk to anybody about how close Cooks was, or was this? I was kind of getting the impression that if they got through Saturday and to see how it would go from there, that the possibility that he would be able to play. Did anybody give you any indication there might have been a little bit of a setback, or he just really wasn't ready to play?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a setback. It's just that he got no work during the week, and then even here during the warm-ups, he didn't take part in it. He's been in, he's in the sweatsuit. The only time he really went out he went out to talk with some of the receivers and things like that, and then he went out to greet Randall Cobb, who of course is the New York Jet now, the former Dallas Cowboy, longtime Green Bay Packer, and of course Brandon and Randall were with the Houston Texans together, so he went out to talk with him. But no, Brandon didn't do any of the pregame work that you sometimes see guys who are working back from injury. Sometimes they'll go out and do a little bit of a warm-up, but I did not see Brandon do any of that earlier. Right now, the only folks who are out on the field right now, and they are in full uniform now, but this is the specialists. So right now I'm looking at the Jets kicker, Austin Seibert. He's trying a 58-yarder right now. Of course, he's in for Greg Zuerlein, who's inactive because of the groin injury, the former Cowboy kicker, now the Jets kicker. So right now it's just the specialists.
Christy Scales with us here on The Fan. And when it comes to today's captains, Christy, what do you know?
Yeah, so C.D. Lamb for the offense and Oso Digizua for the defense. But what's really fun is Wanye Thomas is the captain for the special teams. And, of course, Wanye is the player who blocked the field goal in the first quarter last week that Noah Igbenogany returned for the touchdown. But I was talking with Wanye just a little bit ago, and what's really cool is that when you're the special teams captain, you do get an extra perk during the week, and that's because the special teams coordinator, John Fossil, will let that week's game captain have his parking spot. So a young guy like Wanye would usually kind of have to park on the other end of the parking garage where the coaches and players park out at the Star in Frisco, but he's going to get to park front all week long. So Wanye was pretty excited about that.
well deserved because he's been balling. My goodness. I mean, Wanye Thomas,
and he's such
Bell.
a great story and playing so well on defense, as did Marquise Bell at linebacker last week. So I thought it was fun to see not only the veterans work in last week and see Stephon Gilmore out there, but then these young guys, second year, really take that step up and have big impacts last week. Guys like Wanye and Marquise.
Christy, when you look how this football game might go, we all keep talking about Jets run the ball. They're trying to protect their quarterback. Babe had some interesting thoughts, about maybe like run when you're supposed to pass and pass when you're supposed to run. Do you have any thoughts about how this, what the Cowboys might have to deal with today with Zach Wilson at quarterback?
Yeah, I agree with Babe on that. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. And the thing is, I was talking with some of the folks here on the sideline. It's like, well, how much do you think that they can change and tailor things to Zach Wilson in just a week? And they said, from what Aaron Rodgers would do, and they said, well, you just can't change that much in a week. And they really hadn't changed that much from last year to this year, because Wilson, like Aaron Rodgers, is a guy that can throw on the move and get out of the pocket and things like that. Really, the biggest changes for Wilson would be like the verbiage and some of the semantics and stuff that comes with a change with Nathaniel Hackett taking over as coordinator. But I agree with you guys completely that they're going to rely so much on the run game today. And personally, just as a football fan, I can't wait to see Breece Hall. I'm really excited.
Right.
I'm disappointed that we're not getting to see Aaron Rodgers, just from a football fan's perspective, because he's my all-time favorite player, non-Cowboy, to ever watch play a football game. But some of these young guys, I can't wait to see Sauce Gardner in person, and Garrett Wilson, but especially Breece Hall.
Well, Christy, we could get you some help if you. I couldn't imagine a worse nightmare than watching Aaron Rodgers play against this football team.
That one pass that he had to Jared Cook, that was the divisional round playoff game, the 2016 one, where it sets up Mason Crosby's game-winning field goal. That he was rolling left, and what was it, like 3rd and 22 or 3rd and 21?
19,
that ball was coming right to me. I was ready as a third baseman to field it on a one-hopper, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Jared Cook come over and make that kick, and it was make the catch, and then set up the winning kick, and it's like another dagger to the heart. So, but you just have to respect it. I just hate it for the league and for Jets fans, that Aaron Rodgers is out for the regular season. So. Yeah, but I am glad that the defense is going against Zach Wilson today.
Yeah,
not Aaron
I'm about to say you're a glutton for punishment right there.
No, just great confidence. Great confidence.
That's right, Christy. That's right. Now, a lot of people are always curious about this. I think I know the answer, but are we doing roof open or closed today?
No, it's closed because it's supposed to be, 91 degrees outside today. And so when the roof is open, that sun does come in on these this lower level, the 100 level. So we're going to keep it comfortable today. And I'm glad for that, because after all that rain last week, we deserve an indoor air-conditioned day.
Amen. No question about it. Christy, anything else before we let you go?
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to be wearing a special decal on the back of their helmets. It's a star, and on the inside of the star, G-I-L, Gil, for Gil Brandt. So this is in honor of the Hall of Famer and Ring of Honor member Gil Brandt, who passed away just a couple of weeks ago at age 91. There'll also be a moment of silence for Gil here just before the national anthem. So the Cowboys for this game are wearing, the players will have that decal on the back of their helmet.
Beautiful. Thank you, Christy, as always, and we'll catch up with you next hour.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
There she goes, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales, brought to you by Papa John's. It's big, it's good, and it's only for Cowboys fans. The Cowboys special from Papa John's, a large one-topping pizza for only $9.99. Order today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys. And Broaddus, we inch closer and closer to kickoff here. But how about that? It's a Gil Brandt celebration today at AT&T Stadium. One of your homies.
One of my guys. I absolutely have the utmost respect for Gil Brandt, the friendship that we had. I mentioned before, he was nice enough to invite me to his Hall of Fame induction, up in the Canton, and it was it's one of the true outstanding scouts. When you look at the run that he had before, when he was the director of player personnel here with the Cowboys, it was like 20 straight years of winning football, playoffs, championships, Super Bowls, all kinds of things under his leadership. Him, Tom Landry, Tex Schramm, what a group. That's a huge part of my history of growing up as a Cowboy fan, is watching the work of Gil Brandt, and I was so proud later in life to be able to call him a friend.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely beautiful. I remember just a few weeks ago when he did pass away, and just all the amazing stories and anecdotes of people and their interactions working with, or just spending whatever time.
He affected a lot of people's lives in a good way, affected a lot of people negative that used to compete against him, because he did a great job. What we do today in scouting are a lot of things that Gil Brandt was thinking about and implemented in the 70s and into the 80s.
He mastered the art of swindling other teams and general managers when it comes to trades, right?
Yes.
I know that was one of the big things, where he could see the diamond in the rough on your roster that's 2 inches in front of your own face and you can't see it. He trades for him, and that guy becomes a beast with a star on his helmet. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, he figured out how he's like, he could sell his trash for your diamonds. You're absolutely right about that.
Speaking of diamonds in the rough, Christy was just talking about Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that there's a bigger story to this point. I know we're only 1 week in, but throughout training camp and preseason, and then it all came to fruition when it mattered most last week versus the Giants. These young guys, and I want to give a ton of credit to Dan Quinn and the coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball for finding ways to put guys in positions to succeed. But it's just incredible what we've seen from guys like Marquise Bell and Wanye Thomas as these safety linebacker hybrid super beasts on this defense.
Well, a lot of it too, and you want to, the great thing about Dan Quinn is he works so well with the scouting department, and there's a lot of respect between the two. Dan's a guy that's not afraid, roll up his sleeves, go out on the trail and look at these guys. But the great thing about being a scout here with the Dallas Cowboys is, and they'll, the Stephen Jones also give credit to Mike McCarthy and offensive coaches as well.
Yes.
But the defensive coaches, I mean, you know as a scout that you might be at a school like at Florida A&M and you see Marquise Bell play and you're like going, Dan Quinn could do something with this guy. Dan could play him as that hybrid linebacker. Dan could, and then now you have that vision because you have the vision from Dan Quinn and the defensive staff. And the great thing about being a scout is if you bring players in here, you know that they will figure out ways to use them.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Donovan Wilson is one of those guys. He's obviously still inactive right now, but the fact that you can lose a Donovan Wilson, who was a monster last year and the last couple of years, so much so that the Cowboys gave him a long-term deal at the safety position, which is not something they're accustomed to doing. Now they've done it a little bit more. Here's Malik Hooker getting a deal, but the fact that you could lose a Donovan Wilson and not miss a beat because of guys like Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell is just pretty dang amazing. So super fired up for this game. It's a monster matchup. The doors are open. The gates are open. The beer flowing like wine here in the Miller Lite West Plaza. Everybody coming up and wanting to shake that hand of Bryan Broaddus. Are you kidding me? They walk in and they see him. He's a glowing beam of, oh my gosh, I got to go shake his hand. The ladies, the babies, the daddies, everybody's loving Bryan Broaddus today, as they should. We inch closer and closer to a Cowboy kickoff right here on your home with the Cowboys. Let's set the scene and go inside the numbers next right here on The Fan.
It's the classic dilemma.
and Bryan Broaddus.
Hello and welcome to Week 2 of the 2023 Cowboys season. Ladies and gentlemen, live from AT&T Stadium, the Miller Lite West Plaza is where we reside. And Super Bowl champion Bryan Broaddus, former scout for the Dallas Cowboys, a man who knows all things football, is ready to give us the preview, brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. No Aaron Rodgers for these Jets. Broaddus, what does that do to their offense today?
Well, it makes them pretty one-dimensional. If you really want to look at how you would break them down, where's the problem area for the Cowboys? It is clearly having to deal with their running game. I feel like that the Jets' offensive line, much better run blocking unit than a pass blocking unit. And I'm not saying they're going to remind you of any of these great offensive lines through history running the football, but they will get into. They have some size, the ability to get some push, and they've got a couple of backs that do a great job of running with some toughness.
Yeah, what stands out to you about this 1-2 punch? Breece Hall, the young back off the ACL, but he was a monster last week. Low volume coming off the ACL injury, but he was highly productive. And then everybody knows what Dalvin Cook is capable of. How do they like to present these guys?
I'll tell you what, everybody understands who Dalvin Cook is. You faced him in Minnesota last year, though, did a nice job in that blowout loss that the Vikings had. He actually had some productive runs. I think the thing with Breece and Cook both, it's the vision. It's the ability to see the hole, be a little bit patient with the run, block will develop, and then they're able to hit the hole. If the Cowboys don't get off blocks along the defensive line or in that linebacker area, or even when they play with that nickel linebacker down, Curse or whoever's going to play that role today, then they're going to have some problems stopping this run because the ball will come off the edge at you, and it will come down there with some power to it.
And what do you need to know about the passing game today with Zach Wilson? I mean, if it's up to the Jets, they run the ball 100% of the time today, right?
Yeah, Bob Wischusen, we had on the Jets play-by-play man, was talking about, I think you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of 13 personnel, a lot of tight ends in the game. Maybe you'll do some things where you move Zach Wilson around in the pocket a little bit, trying to get these tight ends involved, though. They have an outstanding one, though, in Garrett Wilson, though. Bad ball catcher. He's a guy that runs routes really, really well, body control, balance, catches things behind him, kind of contorts himself. When you think you got him covered, he still finds ways to come down with the ball. So Zach Wilson will look for him as a target, but I think this 12 and 13 personnel part of it will be a big part of what they're doing. Throw the tight ends, maybe some stuff to the backs.
Let's go inside the numbers, brought to you by Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys. Better ingredients, better pizza. It is Papa John's. Broaddus, how about this? 2.37 seconds is the amount of time on average that Dak was getting the ball out last week versus the Giants. You can tell that's exactly what McCarthy and company wants to do. Get the ball out quick.
Get the ball out quick. Be sure with where you're going. Make sure, though, you're confident in where you're going with the football. These receivers have to finish the routes against this quality Jets secondary.
No question about it. The Jets defense is impressive. Cannot wait to see how the Cowboys exploit them and open up that playbook maybe a touch more. No Brandon Cooks. We'll see how that affects things. We'll hear from Mike McCarthy, head coach, coming up next for the Coach's Corner as we inch closer and closer to a Cowboy kickoff. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Apply now to the University of North Texas Dallas Cowboys online MBA in Sport Entertainment Management. This unparalleled graduate degree combines UNT's high-caliber Tier 1 academics with a world-class business expertise of the Dallas Cowboys. Designed for the working professional with immersive in-person boot camps and online courses, the program can be completed in 12 to 24 months. UNT, a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Academy Sports and Outdoors has you covered with everything you need to have fun out there. From the best sports brands like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, to all your essentials for backyard cooking and the best gear for hunting, fishing, and enjoying the outdoors, Academy has it all. Order online at academy.com or on the Academy app and pick up in store or get free shipping on most orders. Make shopping easy with Academy Sports and Outdoors. Free shipping applies to most orders over $25. Online sign-in required.
Fly to Philly, take off to Tampa, depart for Denver. Following your team on the road is more rewarding with the American Airlines Advantage program. Your flights and everyday spend not only earn you miles towards your next trip, but also loyalty points toward Advantage status. All the more reason to purchase both a home and away jersey. With status comes great benefits like priority boarding, free checked bags, and complimentary upgrades. Not a member? Enroll for free today at aa.com. American Airlines, you are why we fly. Terms and conditions apply.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole made with real Hass avocados will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouth-watering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
Texas tailgating is serious business, and as an official partner of the Dallas Cowboys, nobody knows that better than Specs. Fuel up with a big league selection of ice-cold beers, hard-to-find spirits, world-class wines, and gourmet snacks, all at peewee-sized prices. Gear up for game day with 2 Texas originals, the Dallas Cowboys and Specs. The fun starts here.
Shout Specs, low-priced, amazing. Here's to you. Shout cheers to savings.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
If you're just tuning in, this is Fan 23, Fansville's #1 sports radio station. Brought to you by Tasty Dr. Pepper. We are settling the great debate, best third quarter snack, hot dogs or nachos? You know my mantra, Doug. Yes. Meaty early, cheesy late. Well, it looks like we have a caller here to weigh in. Is this Chuck?
Popcorn in the third is the move.
What?
You go with passive snacking after halftime.
Nope, it's nachos. Look, as long as there's an ice cold Dr. Pepper there to wash it down, I'm good with either. Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
As a lifetime Dallas Cowboy and a father of 4, I know what it means to leave a legacy. You see, my job is to be the security blanket for my family, and I do my best to leave each and every day better than it started. From raising my children to impacting the lives of other children through my charity work, everything I do works to help families have a better tomorrow. I'm Darren Woodson, and my kids are my beneficiaries.
Globe Life is the official life insurance of the Dallas Cowboys.
Who's your beneficiary?
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Cowboys Nation is big because everything's bigger in Texas. And Reliant has the energy to power it all. From home field advantage to home sweet home, Reliant has Dallas Cowboys fans all across the Lone Star State covered for every electric moment this season and beyond. Reliant, proud to be the official energy provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Reliant, PUCT number 10007.
I got to be honest, man, nothing beats a Cowboy game day at the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. The vibes are incredible. Cowboys and Jets, 45 minutes to kickoff. How sweet this is on a beautiful Cowboy game day. And the weather's fantastic as well. If you're stopping by, to come check out this football game, make sure you stop by and see us in the Miller Lite West Plaza. The party is a-rockin', and we cannot wait to see you here. Standing by right now, your voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, with head coach Mike McCarthy for today's Coach's Corner. Take it away, Brad.
Fellas, thank you. The Cowboys have a great day for a home opener. Everybody's feeling good. And, Mike, all I can hear is what you've been preaching about handling success for the last 3 years. If the team was ever going to have a big head, it would be coming home for a home opener after a 40-0 primetime win on the road. But you're making a face when I say that. What do you think?
I'm just hoping we're a little waterlogged for that to set in, that's for sure. But, no, it was a great start. I mean, you always have to get that first win, as you know, and it's good to get that behind you. But, first division win, first road win, there's a lot of good that comes with that, and particularly the confidence that comes out of the game. But, but the reality of it is this is a totally different opponent. Couldn't be more different than the Giants. So, and we just got to stay focused on that and play to our play style and make sure we take a big step in the area of fundamentals.
You adjusted the schedule a little during the week to accommodate the late return Monday night. Everything looked good since then?
Yeah, definitely. I thought the Wednesday work was really good. Gave the players a little extra time Wednesday morning to get back, because we got back at 4:15 Monday morning. So, but the Thursday practice was a humdinger. It was probably our best practice since Oxnard in pads. So we did a lot, did some extra work. I was very pleased with that, and cleaned it up Friday and had a good solid practice Saturday. So it's been our first full week in a sense of trying to get on a schedule.
What was so good about Thursday?
Pads, man, real football. 9-on-7s. Pressure drills. Just this bunch loves the work. They love to play. They practice the right way. They push the envelope, and it was a safe practice, which is important, as we know. But I just love the way these guys go about it.
Two things about the team you're playing. You talk a lot about unscouted looks. It's that way for everybody watching, all the fans. They don't know anything about the Jets. That's a hell of a defense over there. How do you attack that?
Yeah, and I think like anything, when you play an uncommon opponent, we've had a chance to watch them, throughout the summer, getting ready for this, and watching last year, and they had a great year last year. I mean, they were fourth in the league in defense, and had did a lot of impressive things. I mean, it's hard to drive the ball the length of the field on these guys, and you could just see that based on it. I think they're first in the league as far as the limit of goal line plays. So it's a tough group, and this will be an excellent challenge for us.
You have had the unenviable position of having to coach a team that lost a star quarterback. In fact, you lost the one that they lost, and you've lost them here. The psyche of the team, what happens when something happens like that? What does the coaching staff have to do to take the temperature of their team?
Well, you have to have adversity modes on your football team, and obviously some challenges are bigger than others, but they're coming. I mean, it's part of a season in our game, and it's hopefully it doesn't come as much as more than you can afford, I should say. But adversity of football is a huge factor of getting where you want to go, and but it's early in the year, and they got to feel good about the way that game ended up on Monday night. That was a big win. It was an impressive win. And, to get it done on defense and special teams, I think it says a lot.
Last one, Cooks is out today. Gallup and Tolbert, how would you compare their skill sets in terms of what you can get from the two of them?
Well, I think Michael's healthy, number one. So, Michael's ability to go vertical has always been, his uniqueness, but expanding Michael's tree and giving him some opportunities will hopefully that's the way that'll go today. And JT's earned this. I'm excited for him. He's done the dirty work. He's been progressing on special teams. So my point is he's really just been growing all the way around, as a football player. So, and with that comes confidence, and that's at the end of the day is all he really needed. So this will be fun for him. He's going to have some opportunities today.
All right, have fun, home opener.
Oh, you bet. Thanks, bud.
All right, fellas, back to you.
Thank you, Brad. They're just talking Broaddus about Jalen Tolbert, Michael Gallup, who's going to step up in the absence of Brandon Cooks. What do you want to see from those guys today? Because I'm putting the call out on old Michael Gallup. I think, hey, you're the veteran dude. You had all last year to get yourself right. He looks like he returned to form throughout training camp when we got to see him in Oxnard. Today's the day to show it.
No, you're absolutely right about that. I think this is a really important game for Jalen Tolbert. And I know you asked me about Gallup. Gallup's played in some games. Gallup's played in some big games. Gallup has lined up and where the cornerback across from him has been outstanding. So he knows that feeling. Jalen Tolbert this is all new to him.
Yeah.
After everything he went through last week. Now, he's worked against some corners in training camp that have tested him.
For sure.
But today, I don't know how many targets he's going to get. Now, we've seen some games in week 2 last year. Remember in Cincinnati when Noah Brown was 5 for 5 on targets and receptions?
Yes.
And several of them for first downs.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, Tolbert, have that type of game. Have that type of impact on the game. If you get 3 targets today and 2 of them are for first downs, make sure you make the catch. Don't try and run too early. Don't try and body catch the ball. Catch the ball out with your hands. Make something happen. Work yourself open. Don't get frustrated, but don't be a detriment to the team today. If they come your direction, make sure you deliver.
And there's some optimism there with Jalen Tolbert for as tough of a year as he had as a rookie last year. Throughout this offseason, the work he's put in, and we could see that as well throughout the preseason and throughout training camp. He came up with some big grabs, but I think one of the big things, Brandon Cooks, you don't have the guy that's really taking the top off this Jets defense, but he was also a guy that on 4th down, Dak was trusting last week to convert and move the chains. And so you're right, there could be some big 3rd, 4th down opportunities for one of these guys. Hey, CeeDee Lamb's bracketed, double covered, Sauce Gardner or whatever, one of the better corners in the sport.
Right.
One of these guys is going to have to step up, and I think it's a great opportunity. I'm excited for Jalen Tolbert. I'm excited for Michael Gallup, and I'm excited for Jake Ferguson as well. This passing game, and hopefully the offense really opens up a little bit more than it did last week. Cannot wait to see it. Let's get to know the enemy, and let's go into the owner's box with Christy Scales and Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. All coming up next as we continue to get you set for Cowboys and Jets. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
It's time to get back in the game.
Kickoff, Cowboys-Jets. AT&T Stadium, the home opener, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Brad, happy game day, sir. No Brandon Cooks for the offense today. How do you think that changes things?
I think it opens up the playbook for Tolbert and for Michael Gallup. If you heard Mike McCarthy on his pregame segment, I'm reading between the lines, but what I'm reading, Eric, is that he really thinks Tolbert is going to have a big role. They talk about expanding Gallup's route tree. It sounds like a lot of maybe a little bit more vertical stuff for Gallup, but it sounds to me like Tolbert's going to get an opportunity to really put on a show.
Brad, has Coach Landry ever used the word humdinger with you in an interview?
Not that I recall. But that doesn't sound like something that he wouldn't say.
I was just wondering. I like the way you responded back to him, though, with the fact that you followed. But he talked about practice and what was special about practice. And I'm really glad you got to follow up back with him about that and what his ideas were.
Yeah, me too. I mean, pads, man. Pads. Okay.
That's right.
Good.
Playing football.
That's great. Well, you're going to play in pads, so I'm glad you like practicing it. That's good.
Brad, I imagine, or do you imagine that if it's a perfect world for the Jets today, they'll just hand the ball off 100 times and find a way to still win?
No, actually, no. I think that's too one-dimensional, Eric. I think that, look, Zach Wilson is an inexperienced player, and he had some rough patches last year. And he was also the number 2 pick in the draft for a reason. And even Monday night, he showed some flashes. I think what they want to do is try to lean on the running game. But if they can get him into some rhythm, you don't want the Cowboys putting 10 guys in the box and say, please go run. They've got to be a three-dimensional team. So I think they would lean toward the run. But I don't think they're going to go into a shell and try to hide Zach Wilson.
Brad, feel better about Udoka now from what you saw last week to this week as far as him fitting in at guard?
Don't you?
I do, and I was worried about him being a little bit of a liability, to be honest with you.
I was really surprised at how well I thought he played, and partly because he just hadn't played in a while, he'd been hurt, and he was hurt most of last year. And then, as you said, Bryan, he played tackle most of camp, but I thought he acquitted himself very well. I thought that was a plus, and I don't know if there was. I don't think we saw anything from the offense Sunday night to be able to tell if they stayed away from things, but I think they might feel better about being able to play to the whole book if Udoka is going to play that way.
Enjoy the game, Brad. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. There he goes, voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. And now we welcome in sideline reporter for the Dallas Cowboys, Christy Scales, brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys for Christy's keys to the game. Christy, if the Cowboys end up winning this coin toss, how do you think they play it?
Well, Mike McCarthy, he usually defers just so they can get the double dip, hopefully scoring before halftime and then coming out and scoring on the first possession in the second half. But one thing that's interesting is with the kicker, the Jets having to go with Austin Seibert, who they just signed yesterday because Greg Zuerlein, their regular kicker, the former Cowboy, is out with a groin injury. The kickoffs, the Cowboys are expecting them to be different, more line drive, more directional. So instead of blasting them through the back of the end zone, I wonder if we might actually get a chance to see Kavonte Turpin actually return a kickoff today. But then speaking with a staff member on the sideline, they're like, yeah, but the Jets have to score first, because of course the Cowboys only got the one opportunity to record the kickoff last week. That was just to open the second half because they blanked the Giants and there were no other kickoffs. So I think Mike will stick with what he normally does, but it is interesting to think that we might actually get to see some returns today.
Christy, did you get to see any opportunity of kicks from the Jets? How was it, a shaky situation, or was Seibert pretty good today?
No, Seibert looks good, and so did Brandon Aubrey for the Cowboys. He missed the 60-yarder short and to the right, but the rest of it looked pretty solid. And we should note that even though it's a beautiful day outside, a bit hot, it's about 90, 91 degrees. So the Cowboys decided to go ahead and keep the roof closed. So it's nothing like last week where any kind of climate is going to be a factor. Everything, we're enclosed in the air conditioning today.
Thanks as always for the time, Christy. Have a great game.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
There she goes, Christy Scales, and her keys to the game. Broaddus, it's prediction time. I'm thinking this is an ugly one. I think the Cowboys certainly control the game, find a way to win. Give me 20-9. 20-9 Cowboy victory, ugly fashion.
Yeah, I kind of like the direction you're going. I know on various platforms I like to be consistent about it. I got Cowboys 26-13. I feel like the Jets will struggle. Cowboys maybe find a way to get a couple touchdowns. Maybe you'll see a defensive touchdown here again, or a special teams play to kind of give you that 26th point.
Beautiful. Our job is done here for the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you to the Miller Lite West Plaza and all the Cowboys fans that have shown up and shown some love. Coming up next, we'll get you to Brad and Babe as quickly as possible. Kickoff around the corner. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not